What's up, guys? It's Eli Knight with Knight Jiu-Jitsu here, of course. I just got done doing a seminar here at my good buddy's EJ's place here in Hillsborough, North Carolina. He's a couple hours north of me now since I live in Charlotte. He opened IQ Hillsborough here like how many?
7.5, 8 months ago.
7.5 or 8 months. He's already up to like 150 members and growing every single day.
Broke that last week.
Blowing up. So he was nice enough to have me come in do a seminar. We covered a topic today that I absolutely love. It's knee on belly, more specifically or more broadly, I guess, Uki Gatame. And Uki Gatame basically is floating pins, and that's where knee on belly would actually fall into that umbrella. So here's what I mean. This is why I kind of expanded the topic. So let's look at knee on belly as a position. And I've got several videos on this, but talking about like looking at kind of unconventional attacks and how we would set up these kind of floating pin attacks like this. So what's going to happen is this. However we got into this position, there's different ways that you can ride knee on belly. What I typically like is for my foot to be in line with his shoulders, my knee to be up on this side, my shin to have some good surface contact so that I can feel his movement and have sensitivity. For hands, shoulders, or shoulder hip, I like this one a whole lot. Plus it mimics the gi really well too if you're playing in the gi as well. So the ones that we looked at today, now oftentimes what you'll see whenever, and I've got this on different videos, is he's reacting by pushing and posting, and I'm taking his arms for that, or I'm taking his back or whatever. But sometimes if he's being more conservative or if he's defending differently, then here's some different attacks that we can look at. One I like a lot is what I call the drop step. And on the drop step, I like to step here, boom, this way. So I'm bringing my knee that was on his belly off and I'm going here. This is going slightly, or it's going relatively in line with his neck. The next thing from here is I'm gonna reach down underneath this elbow that's between my legs, and I wanna scoop my hips underneath and then pull up this way so that I have my quad and my hamstring crunching through his neck. I'm gonna palm his head to pull my thigh in deeper, my hamstring in deeper here. And then the first attack that I'm gonna look for is setting up this triangle kind of control like this. My shins are parallel to each other running this way, knees are facing the same direction. I'm turning my body perpendicular to him. Right here, there's an option for an arm bar, or I could possibly finish this triangle here by squeezing. And so that's a really good mounted triangle setup. The thing I like about that one the most, because it is a double attack, it's a mounted triangle, arm bar, double attack, but it also gives me, it doesn't really sacrifice a lot. I don't have to really, even if I mess that up, I still have good recovery off of it. And this is what I mean. If from this position, I start to step over here like this and he blocks or he shoves the leg off. When he does that, I'm gonna put my weight on top of that arm that he crossed over his center line, and then I'm gonna grab his head and I wanna pull his ear to his shoulder. As I pull his ear to his shoulder, that creates more pocket of space underneath, and then I'm gonna take this hand, slide through, roll my head down so I can get good extension on this arm, and now I'm gonna drive this arm down behind his neck until my elbow reaches the floor. Once my elbow's on the floor and I've got this chop, I'm reaching high up on the back, and then I'm gonna raise my right elbow this way to finish that Darce choke. So one more time on this one. When we get in this position, I do the drop step, he blocks it, but in blocking it, he crossed up, and so now I'm gonna pin and keep that position on him this way. So what that's gonna do is give me the exposure that I need to shoot my arm underneath to set up this Darce choke. I get nice and deep here, I drive my elbow down toward the floor, I get my high grip, and then I'm gonna raise my right elbow as I keep my left elbow posted on the floor, and I'm gonna finish that Darce choke right there. So two different ways that we can look to approach that. If I'm successful in my drop step and I get the mounted triangle, fantastic. If he blocks it and crosses over, now he gives me the opportunity to start setting up a Darce choke. As a continuation of that, sometimes, like if we go here and he does push that over and across and I get to this direction. Now, sometimes whenever I go shoot this in, he starts to push his head way back like that. The problem with this now is that whenever I get here, even if I'm trying to force, I don't want to go so far that I really sacrifice my position. So I'm going to take this hand, because the Darce choke is cashed out at this point. So I'm going to take this hand and put it on top of his neck. And as I do that, now I'm going to switch to this side. When I go to switch to this side, notice what happened is I got that deep grip underneath his neck and I funneled up his arm for that underhook. So next thing is I'm gonna hug and I'm gonna pull his head on top of my thigh here like this. That's gonna allow me the ability to push his hand down far into his waist as I lean this direction. I'm keeping the space open underneath his head because this takes the weight off of my left leg and allows me to step over and shoot now for the mounted triangle on the other side. I'm gonna finish the same kind of way, still have the armbar option here, or I still have the mounted triangle. So again, on this one, whenever I do that drop step and he blocks it and he crosses himself up, again, I wanna try to shoot in for the Darce, but in shooting in for the Darce, he extends his head back, he knows what's happening, so he's defending it. So what I like to do whenever he defends it is put my hand on top on this side here, and then as I pass to the other side here, I get nice and deep, cut his arm away from his body, pull his head up on my lap, and then I'm gonna post his framing arm down here toward his waist. From there, I'm gonna step over and through, shoot for the triangle. Now, another thing that people overlook with floating pins or knee on belly a lot of the time is the ability to attack the lower hemisphere of the body. Oftentimes when we're in knee on belly, I see this target-rich environment up here where I can attack the arms, attack the neck, even take the back. But what happens if he's starting to get up on his side, like he's defending really well and he's staying in tight and conservative, his lower body might actually be exposed. So if I take a back step here, this way, and I back step to the outside of his leg, now I'm gonna bring my quad up through here this way. So now I'm starting to isolate that top leg. I'm gonna pummel my foot inside. I'm posting my hand behind his back, and I'm gonna grab this knee and pick it up until both his knees are between both of my legs. I'm crossing the feet on the outside, not figure four, crossing the feet, pinching the knees, and now I'm in the saddle position to where now I can start to attack the legs. One of the first immediate attacks that you'll start to notice here is that this foot is inside and I can start going for the straight ankle lock like this. The straight ankle lock is going to be where I get nice and perpendicular. I want to have my thumb up. I want to cross my two arms this way. I want to puff my chest. I'm not leaning back. I'm staying nice and tall, puffing up like this, and then I'm going to get that attack on that side. Now, oftentimes, because this is the most immediate one he can start to remove, he's going to try to pull that leg out and away. If he does, I still have access to the bottom leg, but as he's pulling out sometimes, what will happen is that he'll start to expose that heel, and I'm gonna pull back in to put that heel on my chest. Now, this creates a nice pocket of space underneath this thigh here. So I'm gonna take my outside leg and I'm gonna pummel it in here. Now, this makes a nice little framework, puts a lot of lateral pressure on his knee, which I'm gonna accentuate by bringing my knee this way, while I take my shoulder this way, while holding my arms this direction. That puts a ton of lateral pressure here, so he feels that before it ever starts to hurt, he just feels like it's gonna rip his knee apart. So what happened was, as he's turning on his side, I'm backstepping, pinching up this leg here, pummeling my leg to the inside, and I'm sitting back to scoop the two legs together. I get my ankles crossed, get my knees pinched. I start to try to go for my straight ankle lock. He starts pulling the foot away, and as he does so, I rotate this in farther till his heel is on my chest, and then I'm gonna pummel my foot inside. Now I have that Aoki lock opportunity here to be able to create that pressure. If I lose this leg completely though, here this way, and I don't have access to get it back, rather than chasing it and possibly giving up, sacrificing my position, I'm just gonna sit back here on the heel hook. Now, something important on the heel hook, because he can straighten his leg and make it difficult for me, a good way to get the bend necessary for that leg is to start scooping inside and grabbing my own shin. This gives me a nice bend of that leg. Now I'm gonna take my elbow to the floor here, and I'm gonna push his toes toward my armpit with my elbow to expose that heel. Once that heel is exposed, I get my forearm on the other side of it here, and then I'm just gonna slide my hands, my knuckles back this direction here. If I need the extra help, I'll come back, connect the two hands together, and then start hipping in laterally to the knee as I start pulling that heel back. So one more time, we get into the saddle position, and I've lost the primary leg here, like this. So the secondary leg is still inside. I wanna slide through to make sure I keep the bend and he doesn't start straightening that leg too strong on me. Now, as I come down here, I'm gonna start pulling to expose the heel. My elbow goes to the ball of his foot to peel and expose that heel right there. Once that heel is exposed and it's around the snuff box area, sometimes I can even get just one-handed and maybe finish that heel hook. If I need the extra torque, we'll go back and gable grip here, or even reverse butterfly grip and finish with that lateral pressure there for that heel hook. Right? Super strong way to attack the legs. Also, it's very deceptive sometimes whenever you're in that knee on belly position and you backstep and start attacking the legs rather than just attacking that upper body like most people are accustomed to. So for that reason, these floating pins, these transitional positions like knee on belly can be very powerful, very deceptive, and give the guy a lot of different things to think about and be very overwhelming. If you're in the Hillsborough, North Carolina area, this is the place to train. IQ Jiu-Jitsu Hillsborough. Check them out on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram. The website is IQ Jiu-Jitsu Hillsborough, right? And EJ here is the man to train with. Appreciate you guys watching. Keep watching the Night Jiu-Jitsu channel.